on call.
Well, hello, Brad. Happy
Greetings,
Monday
Chris.
to you. Nice to see you again.
Same to you. You know, we've had many stories about microplastics and nanoplastics.
Yep.
These are plastics that are too tiny to be seen by our eyes, but we're coming to discover they're everywhere. They're in the air, in the water, in the land, in our bodies.
Yep.
It's been found in brain tissue, heart tissue, lungs, liver, kidneys, just floating around in our
You
blood.
are full of good news on this Monday.
Yeah, it's not a good thing, obviously,
Right.
not a healthy thing, but we're just starting to understand the implications of having all of this plastic in our bodies. And that's what I like about today's story. It gives us, opens the door a little bit. It's like, oh no, okay.
Can we close it?
Right, right.
I think that horse has left the barn, though.
So I found this over at sciencealert.com, and here's a little bit more about the story. They were Italian researchers that discovered more than 50% of the plaques that they removed from clogged arteries contain these microplastics and these nanoplastics of the 257 patients that they looked at. So they examined all of these plaques that they removed under powerful microscopes, and here's what they found. Take a look at the little arrows. See where they're pointing at these little things? In their words, quote, plastic fragments with jagged edges inside immune cells and fatty plaques. So that in and of itself is a scary thought, right? Okay, so here's the other thing they did. They also used a technique, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce it all, but it's a machine that helps researchers to identify what types of plastics are these that we are finding in these fatty plaques, okay, that they removed. So of the 257 patients, nearly 60% of them had measurable amounts of polyethylene in these fatty plaques. Polyethylene is the most commonly
everywhere.
It is. Plastic bags, processing films, food containers. Think when you go down the dairy aisle. Cartons of milk, tubs of margarine, you know, cottage cheese, sour cream, all of that sort of thing, okay? So you can understand why we'd have so many of those types of plastics found in those plaques. And then additionally, of those 257 patients, another 12% also had polyvinyl chloride.
PVC?
Correct, which, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, water pipes, window frames, siding, medical tubing, IVs, clothing, footwear, flooring, packaging. Again, you know, when all of this stuff is so prevalent in our environments, obviously it's going to find its way into our bodies. But here's where you really get a glimpse into how this could be impacting our health. After they examined all of these plastics in those plaques from the 257 patients, they went on to follow these patients for nearly 3 years afterwards, just to keep track of their health. And this is what they found. They found that patients where they found these microplastics in their plaques were 4.5 times more likely to have gone on to experience a stroke, a non-fatal heart attack, or just simply died from any cause rather than the people who had no detectable microplastics. So that kind of tells you.
That's in just 3 years.
Yes. I know. Now, the researchers do have a closing statement. I want to read this to you as well, okay? Quote, we don't know what other exposures may have contributed to these adverse outcomes among the patients in the study. The findings of microplastics and nanoplastics in plaque tissue is itself a breakthrough discovery that raises a series of urgent questions, chiefly of which is, what else is going on and what can we do to, as soon as possible, reduce these number of plastics in our bodies? It's, you know, again.
You're going to need more than 3 minutes to cover that one if they could ever answer that question.
I know, but again, it's a little peek as to what might be going on.
All right, Brad, thanks so much, Mr. Doomsday Monday. It's supposed to be a victory Monday, Brad. Come on. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Still to come here, call it.